Sarajevo, Sarajevo.
Okay, so ADA, which is short for Art, Design, Architecture, is a collective, is a transdisciplinary collective formed by architect Stefan Radošević here with us and his colleague Luka Višnić. The activity of the collective is based on professional and research work and production of projects and artifacts in the field of architectural, urban, interior, landscape, furniture, design, and art, as well as engagement in architectural activism and education. The team developed from the original group of ADA by unification of three segments: TVORENO, Studio, and Workshop. More about what they do, we are going to hear from Stefan, but before there is an additional comment by Edin.
Da, vraćamo se na bosanski. Evo, zadnje, ali ne i najmanje važno, malo sada taktički napadamo arhitekturu. Vraćamo se na jednu disciplinu koju nismo još prezentirali današnjim danom, a to je, recimo, malo gerilski napadanje prostora.
Da,
taktički urbanizam. Nadam se da će vam se svidjeti i podržite. A sada ono naše, jel? Iza Beograda. Ajde.
Thank you. So let's start with the games. Now we came from a macro scale to micro scale and to micro urban things and projects. And just to the right, yes, this. Okay. Warming up with Olympics. So our studio, it is, as they said, divided into. Our work is divided into three parts, and it is a common studio work that we do for clients. Also, workshop work where we test product design, and TVORENO initiative. And today, the TVORENO initiative will be presented because that's something we do as an architectural activism in the public space with the local communities. It involves participatory design, and also it is for us some kind of freedom in architecture, besides the common studio things that is always client driven and etc. So this is something where we explore public spaces and build with the citizens. TVORENO initiative, it's actually a play of mixed words and a relationship within them, because in our language, common language, it means being open, but TVORENO again means being created or made. So it's we open the space and create the place, and that means otvaramo prostor and tvorimo mesto. So that's the starting point for our initiative. Our initiative started as a concept first time, and then when we make first project, it was a one side project, and then we developed an initiative out of that, and it is based on investigating public spaces and their relationship with society and nature, and through self-initiated initiative that we drive as an architects and a team with society and local communities and placemaking, and then so we encourage inclusion and participation of that communities in the educational process of design and construction on site-specific projects. So we through time and all those experiments we developed these phases. So one of the first phase we call opening the space, and the second one is creating the place. And all that phases through time also developed their characteristics. Some characteristics popped up spontaneously. Some of them are well thought, but all of them are somehow connected to the whole story and whole narrative that we try to make. And that is additional theme. The additional theme is always some additional value to the architecture, or additional education towards the citizens and the participants in our actions. Also, we are aware of common issues about materials and using materials and things that are connected with how we spend all the means and goods. So we developed that reuse, recycle, remix and ready-made methodology, and it is as it is connected to the materials, it is also connected to the spaces, because we try to reuse the spaces, because in the most cases the spaces were mainly abandoned, neglected or misused, unused or even abused public spaces. Then there's that spontaneous moment that somehow became in one way a leitmotif, and in another way our instrument of communication, and that is the swing. So we call that the swing effect. I will show you later. And the film itself, because all that actions are made as temporary interventions, so they are very, in a way, fragile and short term. So we needed to somehow document all our work and our initiatives. So we started to document that with videos and things like that, and to develop some kind of short footages and films and videos about that actions, with the aim to somehow in the future make out of it the separate I would say part of all that investigation. And we are starting with our space punk, because it was all at the start self-initiated and some kind of punkish, because we didn't have any fundings, any means, but we have a right to act in the city, in the public space, and to make the spaces better. So, and also I will show that through the, I think, 5 actions, with the starting one, how everything started. And the first thing, how we began our trip, that was a summer relaxation from the professional architecture, because we, as a passionate campers, we started our journey in the camping site, because we felt free to, when we go in the nature, to act and to build, because we couldn't rest our designer and architectural mind. When we are in nature, we are resting, we are having fun, it's everything nice, but we somehow constantly thinking about design and things, how to manage and to customize some things in the nature with the less we have, to more we can make. So everything started on the camping trip, and by chance it was on the Ada island on the Adriatic Sea. So that Ada, which is art, design, architecture, for us it is also a short for the river island Ada, where all the ideas started one night beside the fire, and we spent many years our free time at the island, and making that experimental camps and playing with the materials and resources we found there and some things we brought, and that somehow lighted the idea in our mind to pick our one camping site and to pick all the elements we can gather in our backpack, to explore them and think what we can take there and what we can find there, because always you can find there is some kind of that's some kind of thing in that space, and what is the minimal necessary to make our camp and to live there for I don't know, a month even. So and that feeling of the right to the space we have, and that feeling, how can we little things make a thing that we can live there, it was then translated to these diagrams, and then these diagrams inspired us to move on. So it is interesting that our famous architect Bogdan Bogdanovic once said that he wrote to know how to build, and he built to know how to write. So for us it was some kind of paraphrasing that. It was we were building to know what to draw, and then again in reverse moment we draw to know what to build. So why? Because on the next first project that was on the youth bridge in Serbia, Čačak. That right to the space became the right to the city, and the common right to the city. We want to claim that space under this bridge, that is bridge of youth on the river, the pedestrian bridge, and the problem is that space, it's a huge park along the river, and that space somehow divided that park. It was very dark in the night and very neglected, and people avoided that space. So we wanted to somehow activate that and make that border. Instead of border, we wanted to make a connection with these two parts. I mean, people can go through that, but that in terms of content, there was nothing that people would stay there. But there's only one canopy. In a case of a rain, there is only one place on this promenade that you can stay and protect yourself. So how we did that? How we've done that? It was by first we documented all the parts of the area, and then we translated that and also took measures, actual measures of the bridge. We measured from the actual city maps, the scales and things refer to that, and then we made those cognitive interactive worksheets and maps that were some kind of connection to the people and the citizens and the local community, to somehow activate them to respond to this action, to make them do something with that space together, because it's at the end of the day, it's their space, not ours. So having that maps finished, we invited citizens. We put a lot of effort to the children and the future, because the children are future of that space. Other people are mostly like, okay, we will help them, but let's see you young people what you gonna do. So we gave them that maps, and they interacted and they gave their ideas on the workshop actually under the bridge. Meanwhile, we collected all materials in the local yards, attics and spaces, and everything that somehow can be translated in some kind of tactic urbanism design. So that is the result. I mean, over 100 different ideas and suggestions from the citizens, and a good database for the future. So then we activated local workers to help us to gather all the things we can find in these sheds and spaces, and then we thought what we can use, cut and reassemble again, mash up, match, mismatch, whatever. So it's like a constant remix. So we gather that things, and then it was funny because we have a pile of constant chaos, and then again that chaos started to be clear what are those elements, and then we put those elements in these workbooks. We collected all that separately, like on this graphic here. That's the actual situation under the bridge. You have all that, you have that separately in the book, and then you can, with us, solve the problems how to make objects of urban design under the bridge. And then they started building. Children, youth, even the elderly people were involved when they saw the energy and the potential. That was the final project at that moment, what we managed to do on our first workshop, and the final result was there. So we managed to make benches with the bicycle racks, some kind of a grandstand, tribines and benches, the vertical gardens. We planted trees, the additional trees in the park around the bridge, and we put the swings, and somehow that swings became that leitmotif as some driving energy for the future projects. So I don't know how time we have now, because we have a short movie about that, because I mentioned the film and I can show you that later, that movie that we done or just put that footage from that action, because we were trying to, when we can, put all that actions into the digital space, because all these spaces somehow at one point disappear. Even this space, it was very temporary. And I will move on with the presentation, but later I can play this if you want. So the next project was the Otvoreno Watchtower, and that public space was a car camping site from the previous era, I mean from socialist Yugoslavia, and it was very abundant, and the local community from Divčibare village in Serbia on the mountain called us to design some specific object that will reactivate this space. And since there is a children resort nearby, we wanted again to include that children from resort and local community to build some building they want to be some kind of focal point and some kind of inviting place. They wanted to be some kind of watchtower that you can watch scenery and the landscape from there, but somehow to include some playful elements in it. And in that point we included that they fell in love with those our swings, so we put in the first element that swing, which is I will show you later. It's a hit on Instagram. I mean it has I don't know, hundreds of posts from that space, and then when we were doing that, the Instagram was not a thing. So somehow we felt spontaneously that swinging above the ridges of mountains, and that view exactly was the place that we need to show, and somehow that came spontaneously because they already wanted the swings, because they showed the swings hanging from the bridge, because they've done swings on the bridge, nobody does that. So, and the second part is for the watching, and the third part, this big roof, it's a big bird feeder, and that leads us to okay, this is the scenes from the workshop also, because this time it was a reverse project, because we've done the building, then we made the maps with that building and its surrounding and activated them to try to figure out and imagine the future surrounding of the watchtower and of that car camping site. So that was that additional theme, or I would say additional value, additional some education in a way, because in this particular situation, the big roof of the watchtower as a bird feeder, we wanted to make some a little chat with the ornithology, so we asked our colleagues who are biologists to participate and to make those cards with different bird species that live in those areas and their characteristic, and then we printed that and we gave that to the children and participants to explore further. That's very important, because as a little minds, but very clever, then they understand why we build such a big roof, why the birds on that roof of the watchtower are important, and how the design, architecture and everything we do, that activism, it's overlaps with our work, with different fields, and why it's all that together important. So that's the additional theme, and that additional theme it can vary from in this case from ornithology to botany or everything. It depends on a site-specific project. And now, following this method of work, since we have it and different kind of smaller and different actions, I will follow this method, and I will come to this place, which I really love. And this place is where we made our first relationship with Sarajevo and with their spaces. It was a call for ideas, space of freedom, and then we submitted our project in Space of Freedom, and that public space was questioned. It was called for ideas competition, so it wasn't something that would be built, it was something that would be questioned. And since there wasn't any project task, we felt that we need to make one. So we didn't want to design any structure or anything big or I don't know, architecture or I don't know, egoistic, whatever. We wanted to include as many people as we can, but somehow just control the process so we can eventually come with some results. So we then divided our work in 3 segments. The first, and that's from that presentation back then. So the first segment was the drawing of the map, actual drawing of the map, and with this big one also the smaller ones, ambience, and we gave that to the citizens. Again, they gave that their ideas. After that, we visited the track. So how people today of Sarajevo, after all this history and everything that this space gone through, how they use it today, and that small things that you can actually spot only if you go in this ambience and if you know the people of this city. So having that analyzed and these suggestions, then we propose some kind of our interventions in this on this track, and that's how we turn this infrastructure into the architecture, with writing new narratives into the track and new contents. Also, we've done as a third part of the process intervention, because that's the second part of our phase, because we think that the talk and the theory is one, and the drawings and the design is one, but we need to act, and we really need to do something with our hands. And somehow we love to do with our hands, and otherwise we need to do that to show that it's possible. So we are going to the finally swing funk and everything that is our message, and that's the swing effect I've been talking about, because all that things like bridge, like watchtower, or the segment of the bob track has their own swing, like part of the space. The first one came spontaneously, really, with the children, and it was the biggest sensation. The second one was predetermined, because they saw that and they wanted that, and that is that frame. That was the important place. Then you have a viewpoint, then you have a bird feeder. And the third one was just an instrument of communication. Then the swing became a ready-made element. It's not about swing anymore. It's just meaning that we are here, and that's our instrument of communication, and we want to point out some issue about that space, and we call for a dialogue. And I think that's the easiest way to call somebody for a dialogue. New camp. We started from the camp, and today it's the new camp. So we are not stopping. We are trying to pursue our idea furthermore. And today we are here at the New City Games, new Olympics, and we are trying to take best of this city and its spaces. And among these lectures and presentations, we want to spend time to find some interesting spaces that drives us. Also, that spaces are some spaces that this institution, Days of Architecture, was working with, and we saw that it was very important for Sarajevo by analyzing and watching all the story, and also watching what is happening in the city and that is happening today. So who knows what it is? We will continue this. It's not a full stop, it's 3 dots, so we will continue. Thank you. If you want a short video, I can play it. So, yeah.